Hello, everyone, and welcome to a rather surprisingly sunny Great Britain for the second round of the Time Attack Championship. Just to remind you, in this series of events, drivers build their own cars as they are competing against each other in the Time Attack events. Let's quickly, before we begin, refresh the technical regulations for this season. The drivers this season have built their cars for the following specifications. They have to use rear-wheel drive cars with a limit of performance points of 550 or lower. Power is restricted at 350 brake horsepower as well, and their cars should not be lighter than 1100 kilograms. We are also going to be using sports medium tires, and the parts as nitrous system, engine swaps, and fully customizable racing transmission are banned. Everything else, drivers are free to use if they wish so. So, to quickly remind you what went down last week, if you have missed that, we started this season at Lago Maggiore East End, and sick individuals won by half a tenth in a Ferrari Farm 512BB. And that brings us to a point of Success Ballast. So in this championship, drivers accumulate Success Ballast if they finished in top 6. So the drivers who finished in the top 6 last round will have Success Ballast for this round. So let's take a look at what kind of extra weight drivers are going to be carrying around for round number 2. Sick, as I mentioned, won the previous round number 1. So he's going to be rocking a huge Success Ballast of 100 kilograms. He's already talked about in the driver's chat about how bad the car feels with this extra weight. So we'll see if he's going to be able to repeat his success. And that is something that you can actually bet your channel points on. So currently in the chat, there is a prediction going on for whether Sig is going to be able to win this round as well. So you've got about 15, I think more of 10 minutes left to put your channel points in the prediction. So if you think you know the answer and you want to win some channel points, make sure to do so. Then JM Devil finished in second place at Lago Maggiore East End. So he's going to have 80 kilograms of ballast. Or actually, he would have had 80 kilograms of ballast because he's unfortunately missing this round. So he's not going to be participating tonight. Third place, Callum Cripps with 60 kilograms of extra weight. SBY, another Alpine. So 2 Alpines finishing 3rd and 4th last week in P4 with 40 kilograms of ballast. The absolutely cursed, which is not so cursed anymore, Mustang, with 20 extra kilograms of weight. And RDO, Ryan, in the Toyota Supra, rounding up the top 6 with 10 extra kilograms of weight. So, as I mentioned, today we are at Hatch Indy, so the shorter layout of the Brands Hatch circuit, with less than 2 kilometers of track length to play with. So this is another sub 1 minute track. The lap times are relatively similar to Lago Maggiore East End. So the estimated best lap we are most likely going to see is 51.5. Last week, we actually came very close to the estimated best lap, with 41.9 being the round winning time. So we'll see if this prediction here is correct or not. And let's take a look at what's going to wait for us later on in this season as we approach the middle point of the season, it being only 4 rounds in this championship. So today we are at Brands Hatch Indy, and next week we are gonna head to the brand new circuit, Grand Valley South. That is probably a track where the top speed is going to be crucial. So far we've been to tracks where you would really like to have a rather more handling car rather than the top speed. Still, there are a lot of very tight, twisty bits around Grand Valley South, but this is the longest track on the calendar, and it also has the longest straight on the calendar. So we'll see how the drivers adapt to that for next week. And we're going to be finishing the season at Suzuka East, the only track on the calendar where there is a possibility of rain. Plus, in addition to that, looks like a perfect balance of handling and straight line speed required for this track, with a huge main straight and then the S's for the other half of the track. Now, with all that out of the way, let's join our drivers in the warm-up session, and let's take a look what cars they've brought for us today. Because we do have a few drivers that are new to the championship, a few drivers that have missed the first round of the championship. So let's take a look. Lepa currently at the top of the standings, already annihilating my best lap prediction by half a second. Currently sitting 2/10 ahead of P2 in the Honda NSX. So that's another new car on this championship's grid. 1992 Honda NSX looks very cool color. Looks a bit too soft, probably not enough PP playroom to have a fully customizable suspension, but it looks like at the moment it doesn't matter. Sits comfortably at the top of the standings in this warm-up session. Currently in P2, Callum in one of the two Alpines has reported that he's ill, so very happy to see him actually race today, because he is definitely one of the championship contenders. Currently sits in P3, but with Success Ballast coming in for those finishing ahead of him, certainly is an opportunity for him to score some valuable points tonight. Then we've got SBY, the other Alpine, in P3 at the moment. Sick, currently championship leader in his trusty Ferrari 512 BB. We'll see how he and the car adjust to this extra weight. It's going to be very interesting to see if he's going to be able to keep up his form, how the car is going to respond to a new track and to this extra weight. Then we've got Mitch in the Mustang. It looks beautiful, I must say. Way better than it did last round. That is now one of my favorite looking cars, I'll be honest with you. Beautiful looking machinery with side exhaust as well. The transformation of this Mustang is amazing. Happy to see that. Who else we have? We have Ruben in, I believe, that is BMW CSL 3.0, I believe, but regardless of what it is, beautiful looking car. Very happy to see another variation. So far the only repeating cars we have are the two Alpines, so it's nice to see different cars on the grid. We also have KC joining us today in the Ferrari F430. Now, just a quick disclaimer, KC is not going to be scoring any points because, as it turned out right before the start of the warm-up session, the Ferrari F430 is illegal. Basically, he did make it fit the regulations, but unfortunately, the car itself was beyond the allowed criteria when it was stock, so he is allowed to participate in the round 2 of the championship, but unfortunately he's not going to be scoring any points today. And we have Tap in the slightly modified Toyota GR86 returning from round 1, which is beautiful to see, and also Ryan in the Toyota Supra. So we've got about 4 minutes before we begin the second round of the Time Attack Championship. Let me just quickly confirm with everyone that they're there, since I'm also organizing this event and hosting. In the meantime, don't forget to put your bets in the prediction whether Sick is going to be able to repeat his success from round 1. So far, only bets on him not being able to do so. Well, we'll see. Looks like you all don't have faith in the trusty Ferrari 512. It's actually accumulated 1 second of penalties here. I don't know how that's possible. At least I don't know where you can actually get track limits penalties, but somehow he managed to do so. So apparently it is possible. Very beautiful looking time setting at the moment. So we've got a few minutes until we begin our actual timed session. I bet 600 against myself. Welcome, Sig. One of our drivers and the championship leader in the chat at the moment. That is an interesting estimation. You are obviously very fast in the first round, but we'll see how the Ferrari reacts to this track and to extra ballast. That is certainly going to be interesting, because I've heard from some drivers that extra weight actually made their performance point rating go up. And just a quick reminder that when drivers apply their Success Ballast, the performance points of the car drop, and they're allowed to use that PP room to build their car back up. But for some drivers, it was actually not the case, because for some drivers, the weight distribution of the car meant that when they add Success Ballast, the PP rating of the car actually became higher, which was definitely unexpected. But again, another way that drivers have to adapt in the championship, which is basically the whole point of this championship. Oh, Leper, the first driver into 50s in the warm-up session. We'll see if he's going to be able to repeat that time in the actual time session. But I think we are a few seconds away from starting our time session. Everyone's ready up, which is good. So, let's begin our timed session for the round 2 of the Time Attack Championship. There we go. Quick reminder, everyone, watching this live, you still have time to put a prediction in for whether Sig is going to be able to repeat his success from round 1. You still got 3 more minutes to put your channel points in there. But now, let's begin. I will need to quickly back out and spectate everyone. Let's see who is first out on the track. There we go. SBY looks like he's going to be the first one leaving the pits. Again, now that we have more cars than we had in the first round, traffic might actually be an issue, because it's not that easy to let other drivers through around here. A lot of corners are one line, well, most of them are one line, and the straights aren't long enough, and even the main straight is curving slightly, so it's going to be difficult for drivers to find some space. But that is another challenge of the Time Attack Championship, so drivers are going to have to try and find their way through the traffic to make sure that they set their fastest possible lap. So here we go for the first flying lap of this 30-minute time session with the Alpine A110 of SBY. Let's see what kind of first lap is going to be able to set. I'm gonna be able to jump on board with him. The answer is no, unfortunately, but it's okay. Going through the first corner. This is where the handling of a lot of cars is going to be tested. You really want the lightest possible car and the most amount of grip to go through the first corner efficiently, because it's downhill, it's a little bit off camber. The car, everything makes the car want to go to the outside into the gravel trap, so you need any help you can take to make it stay on the track, or using the whole width of the track. SBY approaching the final corner. Very tricky entry and exit for the corner as well. On the power nice and early. Let's see what first lap it's going to be. Very close run up to the line. It's going to be 51.2. Very fast first lap. Let's see what Sig does. 51.4. Ryan, 52.7. And Callum jumps into P2, only 1/10 away from SBY with a 51.3. Lepa up to the line. His first official lap of the season, 51.6, currently in P4, 3.5 tenths away from the leader. About the Mustang, the first lap of 52.5, a little bit off, 9 tenths behind the top 4, but all these drivers have plenty of time. Oh, that's a big crash for Mitch in the Mustang. Yeah, that one's gonna hurt. It's really, really dangerous to clip that gravel on the exit of turn 1. He's going to have to return to the pits and repair that front end damage. Not the start to the session that he wanted, but I'm sure he will be able to recover from it. Robin with a 52.257 big slide on the exit of turn 3 in the BMW CSL. Actually, chat, you are the experts in cars on this game. Please educate me on what exactly this BMW is. But on the run up to the line was a quite sketchy lap thus far. A lot of sliding around. Let's see what this lap is going to be. Oh, 1,000 of improvement. Stays P5 for now. Callum approaching the timeline for another lap. Is he going to be able to improve? No, long way off, probably letting other cars through. Very close top 3 at the moment, only 2 tenths covering first, second and third. And actually Sig in the Ferrari with the maximum available ballast, not doing too bad at the moment, sitting on the podium. For now, obviously the fuel is going to be going out of the car, the tyre wear is going to be kicking in, so we are going to see some pit stops throughout the timed session. So drivers want to be driving as much as possible and pitting with a few laps left in the session to make sure that they have the freshest tyre with the lightest car available. There was just an improvement from Ruben, dropping into 51.929 is his current personal best, breaching the gap to the top 4, but still more than 3 tenths away. And we have a new leader. A big improvement by Callum, 51.229, puts him into P1 at the moment. And this is the track where I expected the Alpines to shine, because the beauty of this car is that it comes very, very light, very, very lightweight stock. So it's almost on the limit of the allowed weight stock. So it's a very good handling car. But as I say that, both of them immediately get dethroned by Lepa. The first driver into 50s, 50.982, 2.5 tenths ahead of P2 at the moment. So this Honda is definitely working wonders for Lepa at the moment. Obviously he's a little bit behind in the championship due to missing round 1, but if he continues like this, he might still find his way into the battle for at least the top 3. Let's see if he's going to be able to improve on this lap as well. Decides not to take the shortest run to the line, sticks to the outside to have a better turn 1. No improvement on this lap at the moment. Let's see, SBY is approaching final quarter, 4 tenths down, so not going to be an improvement there. Up to the line goes Ruben, no improvement as well. This is a point where drivers are probably going to look at making a first pit stop, because the tyres are beginning to go away. Obviously they're not at a point where the car is completely undrivable, but you do want your car to be in the best possible configuration to set the best lap. Actually, minor improvement for Ruben through the first sector. And let's mention again what we spoke about during round 1. There are different approaches to building your car for this championship as Lepa improves even further, 50.8 at the moment, currently running away with it. You can build your car for consistency, so I've heard from a lot of drivers that when they were building their cars, they basically had two options. One being a very fast car that is extremely difficult to drive, but if you nail that one lap, it's going to be probably one of the best laps. But you can also go with an approach of a more consistent car, so it's slightly slower, but it's a lot easier to extract pace out of it. So it's interesting to see how different drivers going with different approaches. Oh, and we actually have two cars off in the gravel on the exit of turn 1. A small beach party we have there. Drivers are going to have to be aware of yellow flags there, but nobody's getting in the way of those on the flying lap. Mitch currently half a second behind the top 5. Probably this Mustang isn't a huge fan of this extra weight that he picked up. It was only 40 kilos, but still, looks like the car is definitely feeling it. There's Callum getting out of the way and actually saying that a small improvement for Mitch going into the final sector. This car looks a lot more stable than it did in the first round, so maybe extra weight being added to the middle of the car helps with the stability of it. The weight distribution is a little bit better. Is it going to be an improvement? No, not at the moment. Ryan into the pits. The first car that we see go into the pits for a fresh set of tires. How is Sig doing? Oh, this is a big slide going to turn 1. Yeah, this car is already very tricky to drive being rear engine, and now with extra 100 kilograms of weight, I can imagine how this is not a pleasant experience to try and hustle it around the tight and fast corners of Brands Hatch Indy. Currently still in P4 with a very healthy gap to P5, but more than half a second behind P1 with big slides all around the track. Definitely not something you want to do if you want to extract maximum pace out of your car. SBY on the run up to the line, currently in P3. Oh, he actually has rear end damage. I wonder how he managed to pick that up. But he is going to have to come into the pits and fix that. Oh, Mitch off into turn 1. Yeah, it's proving to be quite tricky for the drivers to stay on the track, especially in turn 1. Oh, there's a big slide for Sig as he tries to find his way past a slowing down Mustang. Is there anyone on an improving lap? Callum, very fast driving a very fast car. Looks like he found himself stuck slightly behind the Supra. We saw there SBY leave, but he is going to be classified. Unfortunately, he cannot stay for the whole duration of the time session, but his time is still going to be classified as long as the car is legal after the technical regulations check after the round. Oh, it's an out lap for Callum. I apologize, didn't realize that. Sig is still trying to get a hold of this car. Every single corner seems to come with a huge slide, which is obviously not very good for your lap times. It does look amazing, but it's not great for results. Is there even a penalty burning zone on this track? Yeah, there is. It's probably on the main straight. Leper currently in P1 by more than 3/10. That is a huge gap to have sitting at the top of the standings for this particular round. If you guys remember, the first round finished with a gap of half a tenth between P1 and P2. Leper decided to stop on the track. I don't know why, probably finding some clear space a little bit. Callum to finish his first flying lap after the pit stops. No improvement there, probably a little bit of traffic on the way. Let's join him on this flying lap and see if he can find any sort of improvement. He does need to bridge that gap to first place. It is his opportunity to score points on Sig, and actually 1300s purple through the first sector. Let's see if he can keep that momentum going through the rest of the track. Very committed through the final sector, but 2/10 down, so some point somewhere. Lost quite a bit of time, so probably not going to be any improvement on this lap, unfortunately, but there is definitely potential in this lap by the looks of it. You do not go purple through the first sector if you don't have the pace to top the timesheets. I saw a brief improvement from Ruben there, 51.9. Currently in P4, 1 second away from the leader, but this is actually Leper's opportunity to get a win on the board, because obviously after missing round 1, he doesn't have any success ballast. He was able to watch round 1 and kind of understand what you need to have in your car, in what way to build your car to be successful. So it is his opportunity to have a easier-ish round. That is very wide out of turn 3, but still sitting at the top of the standings. He's recently been into the pits, but no improvement yet. We saw that happen in round 1 as well. I expected to see a lot more improvements in the second half of the session, but they just didn't come in. It was probably the change of wind direction, because at the moment we have a very, very strong wind going in the direction of the main straight. That's probably why a lot of drivers are having issues with turn 1, because there's a lot of tailwind, so your car is going a lot faster. It's a lot more difficult to slow down. So that's probably what's causing the issues for a lot of drivers going through turn 1. Callum is very close to an improvement on this lap. Less than 10th down on his personal best. Let's see if he's going to be able to hook the final sector together, or if he's going to choose to stay out wide to get more speed for the upcoming lap. Crosses the line. Unfortunately, no improvement yet. Sick with a big improvement through the first 2 sectors, 1/10 up. It's going to bring him closer to the top 2. Let's see if he's going to be able to capitalize on the good first 2 sectors. Up to the line he goes. 51-2, big improvement, only 6 thousandths away from P2. There was an improvement from Ruben as well. 51.585. Unfortunately, we lost Ryan as well, but he's still going to be classified because he did set a lap time in that session. So hopefully he remembers to record a technical regulations check clip, because otherwise a driver that doesn't submit a clip after the round to check the legality of the car, unfortunately, is going to be disqualified. At the moment, going strong. Oh, a small mistake, but a very costly mistake from Tap. I apologize for that connection in advance. Unfortunately, for the first 2 rounds, he's going to have some connection issues, but going strong in P6 at the moment, only 2/10 away from the top 5. So he is in a very good position at the moment. It looks like the gaps between cars are a lot more evident this round than they were in round 1. Probably that success ballast coming in. Callum still trying to chase that P1. No improvement on that lap either. What about Sig? He is in a position to take that P2 away, but a big slide through the final corner is not the way to a fast lap time. Let's see if there is going to be an improvement. Most likely not. That looks like a slightly slower lap. Yep, 1.5 seconds down, but he is definitely capable. We've seen him put in a very good lap. It is very difficult in this Ferrari, but it is possible. So let's see if come the end of the session he's going to be able to mount any sort of challenge to the top 2. Through the final corner, big slide. A very beautiful sounding Honda NSX up to the line. Is it going to be an improvement? Not quite, 8/10 down. What is nice to see is that Ruben, we've seen quite a lot of improvements from him. So for other drivers, it is often the case that they put one very good lap in, and then it takes them quite a lot of time to maybe even come close to that lap. With Ruben, it's nice to see that it's his first round, so he missed round 1. So the car is fairly new to him, but it's nice to see that he's getting in that groove. He is improving almost every other lap, so he's getting more and more comfortable with that car. Less than 7 tenths away from the leader at the moment, but only 3.5 tenths away from a podium position. So that is definitely something that he can think of. We'll see if he's going to be able to hook another good lap together, but not like this. Big slide coming out of turn 1 in the wall he is, and another car off at turn 1. Callum making a short trip to the gravel trap after actually setting his personal best, 51.173, closing the gap a little bit to the leader, but still just under 3 tenths, but still improvements are always very promising. There is more pace in this car and in Callum himself, certainly. There was another improvement from Mitch, I believe, 52.162. Slowly but surely closing in on the top 4. Unfortunately, I'm not sure where SBY would fit in here because his time is not on the board, but he is going to be classified. And just like that, we actually have less than 12 minutes left in the time session. The time just flies by when you try to focus really hard to get that perfect lap in. So we are almost in the final third of this time session. We're seeing a few pit stops here and there. Drivers coming in for a fresh set of tires. The tank. Oh, that's a big moment for Mitch there out of turn 1. Thankfully, Leper wasn't on the flying lap because Mitch's car was stationary right on the racing line. So gladly for Leper, he wasn't on a flying lap. But it looks like another moment for the Mustang. It's not the easiest car to drive by the looks of it around here. Callum up to the line. Another good lap and the big improvement, 51 flat, nearly into 50s, but that's what we saw last week as well. Once we get into the final stages of the session, Callum begins to just improve his laps one after another. Slowly but surely gets himself closer and closer to that top position. When Leper set this lap in the very early stages of the session, but since then hasn't been able to improve on it. So we probably see this comparison of cars right here, with Honda NSX of Leper probably being more of a one-lap wonder car, where it's quite difficult to extract pace out of it, but when you do, it's a very good lap, as opposed to Callum's stable and very consistent Alpine, that he's able to improve lap after lap. No improvement on this lap, but he's still got just under 10 minutes to try and dethrone Leper from the lead of the session. Very aggressive line through turn 1, taking a lot of grass. Let's see what kind of first split he's going to get here. Purple, 0.07 of a second purple through the first sector. Let's stay on board with Callum to see if he's going to be able to improve further through the second and third sector. Mitch gets out of the way nicely. Hopefully didn't impede him a lot, but the middle sector seems to be tricky for the Alpine or for Callum. Always drops quite a bit of time there. So the first sector seems to be a lot stronger for the Alpine than it was for the NSX, but the rest of the lap is proving to be tricky for the French car. We have a few cars in the pits. KC is yet to leave the garage, so he hasn't set a competitive, well, any lap yet at the moment. He's got 9 minutes to do so, less than 9 minutes to do so. Let's see if he can manage that. Mitch and the Mustang. Very good first sector, pretty much matching his personal best. Very wide through turn 3. This car doesn't look like it likes to turn. Certainly looks better than it did last week, but it looks like it's not really translating into performance at the moment. But still, very good position, although quite far away from the car ahead of him. But You always keep going. You always try to improve your personal best, which was very close on that lap, 52.4, with his personal best being 52.162. Callum into the pits with almost half tank of fuel left, so we are getting to the stage of the session where the cars are a lot lighter than they were at the beginning. Perfect first sector for Mitch, almost 2/10 up. Let's see if he can hook the rest of the lap up. Coming into the final corner, almost 4/10 of improvement. That's a huge lap for Mitch. Final corner, very crucial to your lap time. On the power nice and early, small slide, but it's fine. Should still be able to wrap this lap off with a decent improvement. Up to the line, and into 51s he goes. Almost up into P4, only 1/10 away. Very, very good lap. As I was saying, that this Mustang not be fast, it certainly is. 8/10 away from the leader, but a huge improvement on lap 23 in this session. Robin out of the final corner. Probably not going to be an improvement on this lap, but he might line himself up nicely for a faster turn 1, staying wide. Crossing the line, only 1.5 tenths down on that previous lap. Let's see how he manages to navigate through the first corner. Very, very aggressive on the exit there, nearly touching the gravel there, but that's what you want to do. That's how you push the limits. Small slide on the exit in 3rd gear. First sector 1.5 tenths down, probably an unrecoverable amount of time lost there. Big slide after turn 3 as well. It is getting quite overcast and a bit foggy as well. Unfortunately, it cannot rain around Brands Hatch in this game, which is big slide through the entry of the final corner and off the track. Ruben goes, gets reset, thankfully not in the way of anyone. Callum still chasing that fastest lap of Leper, 50.889, the only driver into 50s at the moment. Jump on board with him, no improvement through the first sector. He said this lap a long time ago, and even though the car gets lighter and lighter with every single lap, seemingly unable to improve on his, well, so far, perfect lap. We've seen drivers go purple through the first sector, but nobody's been able to dethrone Leper from the lead of this timed session. 5 minutes left to put any improvement in. Drivers are aware of this, so we are most likely going to see more pit stops coming into the final minutes of the session. Sick, still in P3. Very, very solid position given the amount of Success Ballast that he's carrying, and it really shows visually in the way this car drives. We'll see if he can improve on his already very good position on the podium. Less than 2 tenths behind P2, 3.5 tenths behind the leader. Callum up to the line, no improvement, but line himself nicely for turn 1. Very nice slide to get himself turned into the first corner. Through the hairpin now he goes. Let's take a look at the first sector split here. Oh, purple by 0.2 of a second. KC is finally out on the track. Sets a competitive lap. Let's watch Callum progress through his lap here. He does have potential to improve here. Still purple, lost a little bit of time. Less than the 10th purple, but this might be the lap that moves himself into the lead of round 2 of the Time Attack Championship. Let's see, on the run up to the line, stays very close to the wall to shorten the distance. Oh, not quite, 700 away. That final corner was really a disaster to that lap. Purple through the first 2 sectors, but unfortunately not through the whole lap. very, very close between the top two at the moment. Lepa still unable to find improvement to his already very good lap. But Callum is getting closer and closer. KC up into P6 at the moment on the track. Unfortunately, not going to be able to score any points, but still, it's taking part that matters. Very good sounding car that Ferrari is. The second Ferrari on this grid. Let's see if Callum is able to improve on this lap as well. No. He's running out of time. He's only got 2.5 minutes left, so probably 3-4 laps to improve. And going to the gravel on the exit of turn 1 is not the way. Lepa through turn 1. Let's see if he can improve on his personal and overall best to try and secure his P1, because at the moment it's not safe at all. We've seen the pace of Callum. He definitely can be up there. Unable to hook up the lap just yet. But Lepa very close to his personal best, only half a tenth down through the first sector. Let's watch him through the remainder of this lap. Approaching the final very tricky sector. Decides not to use the curb on the left, but still more than half a tenth purple. So this might be another improvement for Lepa finally after more than 30 laps of driving. Let's see on the run up to the line. Stays close to the wall. Let's see what's it gonna be. It's a minor improvement, 50.798, and with 1.5 minutes left in the session, only 2 flying laps left, this might just be it to secure his P1 in the session. Callum in P2 went a little bit wide in the first corner, so it's probably not going to be an improvement for the first sector, but he is going to have enough time for another lap. Let's quickly go through everybody else and see if they're improving. Ruben, currently in P4 in this session. Might not be P4 in the final standings. We did have a few people leave, but at the moment 3.5 tenths behind the top 3. Up to the line he goes. Is it going to be an improvement? No, not quite. Let's focus on Callum as he rounds up the final corner of Hatch Indy. After the line he goes. He's going to have another lap to try and take that P1 away. Not going to be an improvement on this lap, but the final lap begins here. Very nice line through turn 1. Not using the whole width of the track on the exit, but it's fine. Taking it easy. Into the hairpin, here goes. He's been very strong to the first sector thus far. The biggest improvement coming in from there. Sick with a minor improvement, but still in P3. Purple goes Callum through sector 1. Another improvement from KC. But all the focus is on this Alpine at the moment. Through the final 2 corners. Second sector split is not looking great. 2 tenths down. That's probably gonna be it for Callum. Loads of opportunities going purple through the first and even sometimes second sector, but the final sector hasn't been his strong point at the moment. No improvement on that lap. Stays P2 at the moment. Lepa up to the line. Currently at the top of the standings. Who's next to cross the line? That is going to be second. The Ferrari currently in P3. Very solid job. Given that he has maximum ballast, decides to board this lap. Very well done. In P3 at the moment, Ruben and Mitch are the next 2 cars to cross the line. This Mustang didn't seem to be a big fan of Hatch Indy, but still very solid laps from Mitch there. Only 1 tenth away from Ruben, who finishes his lap as well with no improvements. Next up, KC aborts his lap as well. Unfortunately, not going to be classified. And Tap crossing the line in P7. And there we have it. Another different winner. So round 1 went to second the Ferrari. Round 2 goes to Lepa in the Honda NSX. But next week he is going to have to deal with 100 kilograms of Success Ballast. Callum, very, very solid P2. Loads of opportunities. Unfortunately, just quite not able to capitalize on them. But still a very, very solid P2 around Hatch. Sick in P3, at least at the moment. We'll see about the lap times of others who left after the end of the session. But very good job by the German driver to hustle this seemingly undrivable Ferrari into very good position with the best lap of 51 seconds point 2. Let's remind drivers to record TRCC before we look at the results. So once again, win goes to Lepa with a lap time of 50.798. Beautiful work right there in the Honda NSX Type R from 1992. Second place, Callum, the second driver into 50s with 50.9. Let's look at those who left. So SBY with 51.2. That would put him just in P4. P3 goes to SICK by just more than half a tenth. P5, sorry, Ruben in the BMW 3.0 CSL. I was correct there, with 51.5. P6, Mitch in the Mustang, 1/10 away from the car in front of him, but still very good job considering the difficulties this car had around this track. 51.6, his best lap. P7 goes to Tab, actually, 52.532 compared to P7 of Ryan of 52.586. So Tab rounds. Now that will actually be, yeah, that will be P6. Rounds up the Success Ballast scoring drivers. But let's end the race and save the replay. But another very exciting and very close round of the Time Attack Championship. Thank you all very much for watching. Next time we will see you for the Time Attack Championship in exactly a week, when we are going to be driving around Grand Valley South Circuit. Very different track to what we had thus far. Definitely a lot longer track, so it's definitely going to be more than 1 minute, 1 minute 10. Certainly. The approximate lap, I would say, is 1 minute 16, 17, around there. And very, very long main straight. So drivers are going to have to adapt their cars to the upcoming race. Hopefully Casey is going to be able to find a different car that is going to be legal this time. And he is going to be able to score points next time round as well. But let us pay out the predictions real quick. Well done everyone who bet on SICK not being able to repeat his success, although he still had a very, very solid race, finishing in P3 in that very heavy and seemingly very difficult to drive Ferrari. Still, very good job, and very good job by everybody. It's very tricky to build your own car and then put that perfect lap in. So I'm amazed by how these drivers do that. Now, once again, let me remind you that next time we're going to see drivers hit the track in exactly 1 week, same place, same time around Grand Valley South Circuit. Track new to the game. Probably drivers aren't very familiar with it, but we'll see how they manage it. Stay up to date with all of the action around Time Attack Championship by following me on Twitter, !Twitter, and !Discord to sign up for the championship. If you found this interesting and you want to take part in this championship yourself, !TAC for more information on the championship, and !TAC sign up for a link to the Discord server where you can sign yourself up for this championship. Once again, thank you everyone for watching. Congratulations to Lepa on a win in the Time Attack Championship exhibition season in his Honda NSX around Hatch Indy. I will see you next time in exactly 1 week on 31st of March. Same place, same time. Thank you so very much for watching. Have a good day, and I'll see you next time.